Okay. I'm picking up some background noise, maybe? No, it looks mostly fine. Okay. Although, this is not the right place. Ugh. There. Mic in proper location. Alright, let's, I'm very dark, even though all my light's on. Time for me to do the fun part where I mess with my video settings and it breaks my green screen. That looks bad. I think I need to do... Oh, that's still on auto. That's horrible, obviously. Wow, that looks really crap, but I'm pretty sure it's because my green screen filter's too lenient, so that should be fixable. I mean, my shirt's kind of green, but not really. This is the problem with green screen stuff. It's too easy. Oh. To get into the... to mess with the settings way too much. Let's see, Was this anything important? No. Oh. My shirt messes with it. My hair looks kind of bad, but that makes sense because my hair is not gonna look good on any green screen setting. Okay, I'll change out my shirt. See, I don't mind wearing a green shirt, having it getting green screened out. What I mind is having a slightly green shirt, so it's staticky. The whole thing gets green screened out. That's totally fine. Also, phone, why are you freaking out? There you go. Ah, memes. Okay. Is there a shirt here that's just not right? Looks like a black shirt? Perfect. A black shirt is not green. Okay, I can live with that. Raise it up a bit. And then, let me see what's going on here. I do indeed appear to be live. Beautiful. Alright. So, let's pull up the sheet. So the main thing, this is what I tried to work on the other day, but didn't end up getting done, was getting the perk system working. Yeah, so let's tackle that. So I know I got stuff kind of set up where I sort of turned off the old functionality. So all I have to do is implement the new functionality. So essentially how I want this to work is here. This is when you click on the perk slot button. The question is, what do I want it to do? And what I want it to do here is I want it to bring up a set of options that are the perks that you can have. Because I think what I'm going to settle on for the alpha build is I just have a pool of perks. As you beat quests, you unlock more perks, and you can just kind of swap them around. I just want to see and how the system looks and feels and play with it a bit before deciding what actually happens with it. So, given that, I don't need to make these different objects. But I do kind of want to think ahead in that later on, if I sort of tier this out to where each slot can only have a certain set of perks. So they'll be like, defensive, offensive, utility, or whatever it is how the categories are. They can be a bit more nuanced than that. I would either have to have an extra set of checks or create separate objects. I think separate objects is a little bit easier to handle organizationally. But initially, I just need one object. Although the unlocking perks thing is going to be a little weird. Okay, so I think what I need to make this work, and indeed I don't need this line, like, at all. I can get rid of all of these. What I need is, I need to have something that's a perk unlock toggle, which will be a certain upgrade level kind of mechanic on player data. So there's two ways that I can do this. I can have this be just a single integer that every time you beat a quest that would unlock more perks, it just goes up one tick. And then all the checks are just, oh, do you have at least, do you have a upgrade level of greater than or equal to blah? But that is very rigid. So I could instead make it a set of arrays where there are a bunch of binary toggles, but it's an array. So that a certain quest will unlock a certain set of perks, and that's it. It's a lot more work to code that, but gives me way more control over the system, so I like it better, and it's probably the best as a foundational piece. Yeah, so let's do that. So I guess I'll write it pretending that this variable exists just to see sort of what I need it to be. I mean, I guess it's just a binary toggle array. So, okay. So let's put that into stat any, which I believe is in libraries. Yeah. So then this will be oh, don't I already have one for quests? Okay. My quest stuff is here. So let's kind of do something similar with that. Let's do like rewards. And then this will be for var I equals 0. Yeah, equals 0. I is less than, I guess let's say 3 for now. I can change this later. I++. And oh, don't have numlock on. That would explain the problem. So what this does is this will create, this will effectively initialize, let's call it perk unlocks I equals 0. So this just initialize perk unlocks. I can make this a quest reward. So that's nice and clean. That works. I will need to add that into the save file. Crap. Let me go get a piece of paper so that I can write this down so that I don't forget to go back and put that into the save file. Oh, here we go. Okay. Add. What did I just do? Right. Perk unlocks to save file. So these will probably end up having lots and lots of tiers, but right now, not going to bother with it. So then I need to go to here. Now here. And here we have a check for if perk unlocks okay, let's have the first one actually be 1. And here's why. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to leave the perk 0 slot. Zero. This is going to be the class bonuses. I guess I don't need this to be a thing, but I'll leave it open in case I want to use this for that. Yeah. So then I need this to generate or somehow draw or whatever, show the options of the perks that are available. So I guess I should make the perks before moving any further forward. So if we go to my scripts, yeah, these are the perks. And I actually kind of have some already set up, but I don't like most of them. So let me rewrite these. New perks. And in this group, we will have a script, which will be SCR. I guess I'll call it Summoner. Oh, I already have a name for that? Do I already have a perk that's Summoner? I guess I do. I shouldn't. Yeah, what? Oh. Huh. Where's the script then? I would assume it would be one of these, but I know it's not, because, yeah, none of those are named that, because those are the visual class names. And none of these are named Summoner. Ah, this one is. Fair enough. So I guess let me just add like a 1 to it or something, because I'm probably going to end up deleting these, because they were placeholder. Okay. So, what I want this to do, I should probably pull up my master spreadsheet. Oh, coffee. Ah, yep. There we go. That's the spreadsheet. I know you guys can't see this. It's going to take forever to load. One of the disadvantages of cloud storage. If their servers aren't well done, it takes a while to load in. Okay, because I planned this the other day. Ah, there we go. So yeah, let's do this one. So this is more max mana and less mana regen, which that makes a lot of sense. So let's go. I guess I should do this the same that I do the other ones, which is have like a on-off. So if argument 0 is equal to 0, what do I have these for turn off or turn on? Let's see. I would use these on, yeah, the gear stuff. So 1 is on and 2 is off, or 0 is off, which is what it should be. I just want to make sure it wasn't done before. So this is off. So let's start with the on case. So I don't have to start by thinking backwards. OBJ player data dot max mana. Let's make it 50 for now, I guess. And go J player data dot mana regen minus equals, I guess, 1 for now. Yeah. And then, essentially, I would now want the turn-off state, which is the exact opposite. Literally just flip everything. So then, I guess I just make the other set of perks. This one is fast caster. Maybe call it, I guess I can just call it caster for now. Change it later. I shouldn't call it caster. I should call it There's quick spell or... Because, like, if I call it, like, swift casting, that would imply cast speed, and that's not what this is. Something like... I guess mage is fine as a placeholder for now. That's close enough to the idea. So this is essentially kind of the opposite of this. Which actually I can kind of just do as literally the opposite of this. Yeah. When I finally do the balance update, I'm sure a lot of these numbers will change, but this actually works just fine. I'm fine having these be inverses of each other, because depending on your starting class and your build, you'll be more inclined to pick one or the other, which is kind of the idea. And then what were the other ones that I had? I had mana leech and less mana regen. Okay. I should probably just duplicate. So let's call this, what's this, Soul Stealer? Or something like that. It's more or less the idea. This is mana leech. So let's add how much mana leech should this be? This would be a percent. Let's make it, I guess, 5%. See how that works out. Again, not doing balance stuff yet. These are just approximate base numbers. Enough to get the idea across. In general, my attitude on tuning is a pretty common one, but or on balance, which is put things, try to implement things in their best state, and if they're too strong, bring them down to the right level. Because if you do that, it's very, very common that stuff that you think will be too strong actually ends up being fine. So you end up coming out ahead by trying to implement stuff that's too good and then going, actually, most of this is fine. It's supposed to be the alternative where you intentionally sort of hedge your bets and put stuff in a weaker state, and then everything's kind of just bland. It tends to be a bigger mistake to preemptively nerf than it is to see how stuff works out. So I'm trying to make sure that the numbers are big enough to feel good. Like 5% mana steal, in my experience, in most games, is like an absurd amount. Now this is like without actually looking at my numbers or anything, but so I want to see how it feels at 5%. And if it ends up feeling like nothing, then I'll crank it to like 20% or something ridiculous, and we'll just see how that feels. Okay, then I had another one for mana, which was... I didn't have a placeholder name for it, which is fine. Reduced mana costs and less maximum mana. Why did I like this? What was the idea behind this one? Oh. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, no, this is actually interesting. I like this one. I don't know why I made this one. So let's see. Concentrated casting, something like that. Ooh, I don't have a mana cost stat in my game, do I? I don't have a mana cost modifier. Skills themselves can roll reduced cost as a mod, but I don't actually have a mod for actual cost as a thing. Okay, so let me add some stats to the stat ini, because there's a couple that I've thought of actually that I kind of need to implement. So first is I need a max mana mod, and I need a max stamina mod. Ooh, now pretty much every place where I reference max mana or max stamina, I need to reference that times the mod. No. I think I can make this simpler, or I won't have to replace it in all these places if I change it to also have base stamina, which equals 100, and base mana, and then I recalculate max mana where it's relevant, so that way I don't have to go back and replace the info. I think that makes sense. So now what I need to do the math on this is, I guess I'll just make a simple script, which is SCR mana calc. And what this will do is this will set max mana equal to base mana times max mana mod. The reason why I'm scripting this out is in case I make this stuff more complicated later. Ooh. Haven't I already factored in the mana reservation somewhere? Because I could also do it here. I could add in minus mana reservation. And this is what I mean by, if I script it out, it'll be easier for me to sort of keep track of and manipulate further. So I think I want to find where I've referenced this and put this in, because now base mana is a different thing, so max mana can just be used in place. Yeah, so let's go through each instance. So I'm pretty sure I did obj player data dot max mana minus obj player data dot mana reservation. Didn't find any? Okay, so it might just then be without the pointer. Oh my god. Really? Guess I'll have to find one of the instances where I actually do this so I can see the wording on it. Mana reserved. Yeah, so all of these can be replaced with max mana, because I'm going to account for the mana reserved now that I'm doing this calculation. Then, let me add in just to make sure. I don't think there's any circumstance where I point to this stat, but just in case I do. Ah, okay. And then this is, yep, still mana leech. This is in the heal one, which, yes, as long as I keep track of the mana reserve. Same thing, same thing. Okay, cool. Okay. So, yeah, let's go ahead and add this in. Pre-compiler. Oh, it's not reservation, it's mana reserved. I just went over this. Alright. So now, anytime that I would modify one of these three stats, I have to run this script. Which is simple enough. So there's somewhere it's very relevant, which is here. So here, now we go... No, not on this one, sorry. On these ones. These are where we manipulate mana reserved. Yeah. So after this, we would run SCR mana calc. And then here, same thing. And then also here. And then I would do the same thing on these. Yeah, any place where I manipulate mana reserved. I need to then run the mana calc. Otherwise, I would have to run it on these scripts, but I will edit these appropriately now. So now I don't actually want this to be max mana. I want this to be mana mod. Or sorry, it's max mana mod. And let's not make it 0.5 because it's a bit much. Let's make it 0.3. So now I should probably also edit it in the gear section. This is why I like that I script all this stuff out, is it's pretty easy for me to find this stuff and manipulate it. So rather than adding a flat amount, let's go 0.1, so it's 10%. This is a mod overall will be slightly less strong, but I think that's good because it was way too strong before. And again, I'm not really doing balance, just trying to think about the overall impact. So now I can actually calculate this one. And this was why I had to go through all that, was for this one, which is supposed to be what? Reduced mana cost and less max mana. Mana cost, that's right. I don't have mana cost as a mod anywhere. So how do I manipulate that? So this is one where I technically have to go through all of my skills, which have this mana cost calculation. This should, at the end, very easily just add in multiplied by obj player data dot mana cost. Mana cost, let's do it mana cost mod. Just to keep the naming convention a little bit similar. So I need to make this a stat, but I'm going to go ahead and go through and just add this to every single one of these. Except, actually, I don't think I would add this to the mana reservations, because I want to leave it as a separate mechanic for now. I may go back on that decision later, but for now, I'm only going to apply this to skills that you actually cast. And that one's also another reservation. Okay. So then if we go to... Oh, wow. I have way too many of these open. Okay. Go back to stat any. I also want to do... mana cost mod equals 0. And then I guess I would kind of do something similar here, where I would have stamina cost mod. I haven't done anything with stamina. I need to do literally the same thing that I did here, but with stamina. Because I'm going to have a redundant mod, or a symmetrical mod. Oh, felt that one coming a mile away. This should be stamina calc. This is the same thing, except all of these are now replaced with stamina. Max stamina equals base stamina. Should I just call it base stam? Base stam. Okay, yeah. This is max stamina mod. And I don't have a stamina reserved. That's the mana mechanic. So that's nice and simple. So now I need to find everywhere where I reference base stamina, I believe. Everywhere, every other place. Or sorry, max stamina. There is a lot. Uh-huh. Yes. So what this should be is max stamina times max stamina mod. So yeah, let's replace that one. That one's fine. Let's replace that one. And that one. Don't replace that one. Don't replace that one. I mean, this should technically be something like that. These are going to get replaced, so it's a little silly for me to edit these, but it'll kind of keep my code from getting horribly disorganized. So this is probably worth it. That's fine. Okay, then we're back to here. Okay, beautiful. So now we need to add in the new stat mods to save, which I will do later. Because the save file stuff is all easiest to do all at once. Okay. Oh yeah, that is not referenced yet. That's fine. So what this means now is I can come to here, and this should be max mana mod minus some number, and this should be mana cost mod minus some number. So I guess I can make them both like 20%. There's probably some play on these where it would make sense for me to make these numbers not symmetrical. But technically symmetrical is fair outside of other mechanics, which is kind of the point of this kind of perk, is to be a synergy perk, where if you have like mana leech, then this mod is really worth taking because it makes your mana leech more effective without any major downside or change. And other such things. If you have high mana regen, this is really, really good. But if you don't, then this is less good. Maybe because of that, I should probably bias the max mana. Okay, we'll see how this feels. So those are the 4 mana ones. And then I think I was going to do symmetrical ones for Stam. The same thing. Yep. So let's kind of copy each of these. But then do it for Stam. So this would be what? Max stamina and stamina regen. Increase max stamina, lower stamina regen. I guess I'll call this endurance. I'm getting messages. Okay, cool. And this would be max stamina mod, stamina regen, max stamina mod, and stamina regen. Let me make sure I call it stamina regen and not stam regen. I call it stam regen. And this is why we double check. Yeah. So now, this should be, see, less max stamina and more stamina regen. So this is the opposite. So this would be, I guess we'll call it Brawler. Sure, why not? That gets the idea across. So this would be Stamina Leech for Stamina Regen. I'll kind of stay a little bit symmetrical with it. These names are super work in progress, so they'll probably get changed later, but... No, I probably call it Stam Leech, don't I? Yeah, I do. Stam Leech, Stam Regen. Let me do it this way. Yeah, that'll work better. And then we have this one. Which, so this would be... Actually, I'm pretty sure this one is the full stamina as well. Yeah. So this would be less max stamina, but less stamina cost as well. I kind of want to call it something like Simple Fighter or something like that. Novice Fighter? Nah. Lightweight, something like that. Yeah, let's call it lightweight for now. That's actually pretty good for getting the idea across. Okay, so these were the 4 resource perks that I had come up with that I like. So let's make the first perk slot that. So, to do that, I need to go back to here. So if this is true, then I need those as options. So here's where it gets a bit complicated. I would want this perk slot, when I click on this, I would want it to sort of bring up all of the perks I could have for this slot. And so I would only want it to bring up the ones that it could have, so it has to go through this check. So here's what I'm thinking. I could make it so that each of these checks that it does, because it would do this for the next perk slot, the one after, and the one after, or the perk unlocks. It can be that it checks these, and it throws them into a list. And then it generates the available perks based on the list. That's a pretty good way to do it. But I'm kind of curious, like, what if I wanted it to be that the perks you don't have access to are grayed out? So that A, you know that there's something that's in the game, and B, they can sort of hint at how you unlock them. I think that's better. Which means that this isn't how I would handle it. Right? Because if I wanted to do it like that, doesn't that mean that I would have to have each perk object exist as like a separate object? And then there is where it checks if you have the unlock or not. And if you don't, then you can't select it, and it'll be grayed out, and it'll give you the information. If you have the toggle, then it won't be grayed out, it'll be colored, and you can select it, and it'll work. Do I really want each perk to be a separate object? Is that the best way to handle it? I think yes, because thinking ahead, if I want to remake my perk system into any number of ways, like if I want to reorganize the information or whatever, if they're all separate objects, it'll be a lot easier for me to manipulate and handle. So I think I do want that, which means I don't need this here. What I do need... Okay, so I need to create the objects themselves. So let's duplicate this object, and so to start with this as a base. And let's call this after the perk that it's going to be associated with. Ooh, I might be able to generic it. I suppose I'll leave this as a perks inventory check. Does this have? Okay, good. So is that all that this thing does right now? Okay, beautiful. So I think what I would want to do here is I need this to run a script equal to the ID of it, I believe. And that would be the perk script, and that would involve the check. And item is equal to, yeah, the item ID of the object. So because this is a perk, and perks aren't going to have mods, I can actually use a different naming convention, so I will. To keep things organized. So let's call that, yeah, perk ID. Let's change this to perk ID. I believe same thing here. Yeah. Change this to perk ID. This will be equal to. That's fine. I don't need to rename that. That's the only spot where it's used. Now what I do need to do on this one is I do need to add an if, and I need to color in a grayed out version. So this is going to get messy really fast. I assume I already have an SDR perks script, or sprite. This is what I was using for the classes, or do I call it SPR classes? I hope I call it SPR classes. Okay, I call it perk slot. That's fine. SPR perks. So I'm going to need 16, but I'm going to copy a lot of them, so I technically only need 8 to start with. Okay. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create... Oh, I'm bad. Let me create this initial square. So these are going to be the actual icons for the perks, and again, I want a colored version and then a grayed out version. The darker one. Then I can use the lighter one. Yeah. So that'll be the size of the button, although actually this might be too big. This is 64 by 64, that's way too big. What size do I have these be? 32? Okay. So yeah, this is 4 times as big as it needs to be. And let me go ahead and redraw this now. Whoop. There we go. 5, 6, 7, 8. So I'm gonna draw them in color, and then I'm gonna gray them, or copy them and gray them. And then their image index check will be based on if the toggle is set, which will then also set if it can use the script or not. That should work, and that's pretty simple, actually. So let's come up with some simple art for each of these. This one I want to be Summoner. That's a little bit annoying. Trying to simply communicate these ideas with very little, with very few pixels. Sure. So what? It's Summoner, Mage, whatever. Which actually I should probably slide these down. Yeah. So it's Summoner, Mage, yeah. So for Mage, I don't know. Placeholder sprites, execute. Wow, I nailed that. Oh. Oh. This is just supposed to be like some stupid crystal or something. This is totally not what this perk is gonna look like, but it's just like the easy dumb thing that I can do initially. Does it look better if I do that? Slightly. Cool. So then we want like Soul Stealer, so I don't know. Kind of want to do it as like a curved blade with some like purple smoke coming off it or something, or some purpley magic effect. I should still kind of use this. That's way too exaggerated. Yeah. That'll work. That does not look brown. I can do it as like a darker gray. That'll look fine. Okay. And then, yeah, let's go for like a much lighter purple so then I can do the darker purple. Something like that. That's fine. I'm cool with that. That gets the idea across. This is endurance. I don't know, man. Definitely think it should have like a reddish kind of background, or maybe a brownish. Let's go something reddish, but just not that harsh. Maybe like just for now, dumbbells, because I can't think of a better idea. I'm bad. And because I can't line things up. There. Sure. Then we want brawler. Oh, man, I don't know. What do I have to come up with like semi-creative names? I'll do the like mad anime face lines on like Mankey and stuff from Pokemon. And yeah, let's do like some. Why does it think my shift is being held when it's not? Yeah, okay. Sure. Close enough. Okay, so this one, I actually just want to take this and just recolor it. Ooh. A, because I'm lazy, and B, because it's probably the easier way to do it. And actually, there we go. So this is for stamina. I guess making it green is kind of all right. And then we want like a dark green. Does that contrast well enough? So how I'm giving like a quick check for if the contrast is enough is if in the little icon you can clearly see the color difference, then that means that in the game it'll look fine. So it's kind of nice to have these small icons up here because I can, like, if you're this zoomed in, it's really easy to tell the difference, but sometimes if the shades are a little bit too close, it's really hard to tell. And then, I call this lightweight. I meant this as, like, lightweight boxer kind of idea. That's kind of hard to represent, though. I mean, I guess I could literally just do a boxing glove. The classic, like, red boxing glove. I mean, I doubt I can draw that very well, but I'll try. It's something like, you have your like, big part of, like, the first ones, then you have, like, a thumb that comes off it, kinda. You have, like, the little wristy part. I don't really have the curve of, like, the fingers represented well, but... And let's go down, like, a couple notches. And again, I'm going to check contrast. See, like, that doesn't clearly define the lines very well. That looks much better. And then this isn't centered very well, so I'm just going to take this. So obviously, literally, the class isn't supposed to be or this perk isn't supposed to be for people who box, but I just am sort of riffing on that idea, and because I'm using placeholder names and stuff anyways, this is just a quick way to represent it. What color do I want to make this? The more different the colors are, the better. That's obnoxious. Oh, and I want to avoid gray, because there's going to be the grayed out versions. Oh, I can do something more on the brown side, but go lighter with it, so it's kind of like a beige. That is also horrible. Let's soften it up to like a sand. That's getting close to orange. That looks pretty alright, and that's kind of like a yellow, but just not horrible. Okay. So now I'm going to do the grayed out versions, which are going to be really, really simple. Ooh, I wonder, is it better for me to double these up and have these in the same sprite index? Or make a duplicate sprite index that's just the grayed out ones? I think that's way better, and you'll see why when I get to actually putting in how it finds what sprite to use. Yeah. So, let's find where this is. Yeah. Let's duplicate this and go perks, or SPR, grade. Yeah. Grade perks. So this way, if I make sure that the background for all of these is like this light gray, even if you can't really tell if the details are supposed to be gray or not, because the background will be the same sort of light gray, it'll be very obvious that you can't select the perk. And that's why I kind of have kept them with these like big, colorful backgrounds. This one's gonna look like crap if I don't do that. Maybe that's how I should do it. I should just have the background be grayed out. I'll do that for now. I can mess with the visual stuff more later. So I'll just keep it this way for now. Is my stuff freaking out? Nah, okay, cool. Yeah, I actually think that's kind of good. I agree, and I think the background color will be enough to make it obvious. But we'll see. We'll see how it looks. Okay, so... And this is all placeholder art anyways, but I do want it to communicate the idea effectively. So, like, if it's stick figures, I don't care, as long as stick figures do the job, and sometimes they don't. And I do think that this little tiny flame effect actually communicates the idea very well. So I do like the idea of keeping it and keeping it the same color. So, okay, I can go to this here, and this I should actually rename, because I'm going to generic it. So rather than calling it perk slot and perk button, what do I want to call this? Okay, maybe I should actually rename this, just add old. Oh my god. Don't overwrite the whole thing. Oh my god, come on. Just add the old tag to it, and then I'll rewrite this as perk button. Perk button. Did I end up getting that asset pack? No, I didn't. But I did take a look at it. It's not quite the stuff that I'm looking for this kind of thing. And there's, as far as placeholder assets go, there's a lot of good resources for that. I just need to spend the time to go through the websites to look for them. So if I'm going to pay for something, I want it to be something that I'm actually going to use. Which kind of contradicts what I've said in the past, but, like, I'm not using the stuff in the whole... Like, if I'm going to use it, I want to pay for it. I'm not going to go out of my way to pay for something that I'm not going to use by that same note. I don't know if that made any sense, but... So the reason why I made those two different sprite setups is to do it this way. So this is completely fine, and I can actually keep this because I made them two different indexes. So all I need to do is have a check for, and this depends on what I want the check to be. Ooh. I'm checking the array. So this would be what? obj player data dot, what did I call it? Perk unlocks? Yeah, for the most part, when it comes to purchasing assets right now, I want to wait to sort of see what funds I end up raising and what I can work with, and look into actually getting some stuff commissioned, and just sort of explore that and see if that's worth it for this project, for something of this scale, and all that. And then if it's not, I can confidently do something else. So I'm kind of trying to not spend money on things yet, and just sort of look at what my options are and whatnot. I guess now's a clean segue to heads up, everybody. I have a Patreon down below. The main goal of the Patreon is to raise funds for the parts of the project that I do not have skill sets for myself. The things that I can think of off the top of my head for this would be art, and music design, and sound design. So yeah, I want to see what I have to work with before I make any major decisions on how I want to approach that. But I definitely want to pay somebody to do that work, because I highly value it, because I can't do it myself. And yeah, so I want to see what I have to work with before I end up making, any sort of decision on, let me just pick this up for now, and then I'd rather save up and make a very informed decision. So this actually needs to be an if check. I'm bad. If unlocks, and the array, I can set this to a variable, and I guess I'll set this to the unlock variable, which can be something that I can set. So I need to initialize that. This is unlock equals 0. And so this is, if this is equal to 0, then sprite index, which is different from image index, sprite index will be equal to SPR grade perks. If, basically, same thing. I could do this as an else, but I might add other layers to this. So this equals SPR perks. And the index will be the same. So this will refer to what frame it refers to because they're duplicate sprite indexes. It will have, like, each one will correspond. The grayed out version will be the same ID for that frame as the colored version. So that's why it's nice to do them as two separate sprite indexes. This becomes very clean and very readable. So I got this going. Then what I need to do is add in a check here as well, which is just that this is actually clickable, which would be this check. And the nice thing is I don't need to put in a case for if it's not unlocked, because it just won't work. In theory, it's better for me to put this check here. Because this is the little whiteout circle that are on all of my inventory objects. So if I put this check up here, it won't even white out the object without it being an unlockable object. And I think that's also convenient and another layer of communicating effectively that you can't select that option. And then I don't need to have it here because then it's redundant. Because it'll only get to this step if this check passes. So if that's equal to 1, and I press click, okay, so I'm technically doing this right in that I thought backwards and I'm working backwards, but now I need to think forwards a little bit. Because for each slot, what I want it to be is when you click on the slot, it opens up this menu of items, and then when you click, or this menu of the different perks that you have unlocked, and when you click on the one that's one of the ones that you have unlocked, it puts it into the perk slot. So there's a number of ways that I could do this. Which way do I like best? Alright, I'm going to generate the perk slots and the perk buttons. So I'm going to write over my library script for this, for the old code. And actually, I think I've already sort of fixed it. Not at all. Oh, that's for the library, not the inventory. Sorry, I misspoke and went to the wrong one. I need to look at perk inventory. Oh, sorry, it is in libraries, but it's the perk inventory script. And I organized it that way intentionally, and that way does actually make sense. I just had a brain fart. Yeah, okay, so I got rid of those parts that don't matter. I do save the slot ID. So that's good. This will create 7 perk objects, or 6? It will create 6. Maybe 7. I don't know. It'll create 6. Generate them in a fair spot, all that stuff, that's all fine. Okay. So since they have this, I guess I can vary... Okay, so I should generate the buttons, as well. Which I think I just deleted the button code. No, okay, I comment blocked it out, which makes sense. So let's return this back on and then adapt it to fit what I need it to fit. So this is not obj perk button. This is obj. I just call it perk button. Whoops. Good thing I haven't referred to it in anything yet, because I need to keep my naming conventions. So I guess I do call it perk button. Yeah, there we go. And then it will inherit the slot ID, although it doesn't need to. But this initializes it. So let's initialize it as 0. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to have it be that when you click on... Oh, and this is... I only have 8 right now, so this should be 8. And this should be I. This is an item ID. This is perk ID. So I changed the terminology for these to keep stuff organized. Okay. So then, what I want to do is I want to go to the slot item. When you click on it, I don't need any of this. What I want to do is go for I equals, or var. I can spell. There we go. Var I equals 0. I is less than. You know what? I will change this back to max perk slots. And then actually set that variable, because then it'll be easier for me to manipulate this later. I need to like get out of the habit of being lazy, because I'm getting towards the points where the polish in the code matters more and more, and the flexibility matters more and more. All I want to do is set obj player data dot slot, or sorry, perk button I dot slot equal to slot. So it takes the slot that's equal to this, or the ID of this perk slot, and passes it into all of the button IDs. The reason why that's important is I don't draw these based on their slot, do I? I might. I need to go back to... So I have this for this. No, I'm pretty sure I draw it based on... I'll make another variable for this, because I think I'm going to break some of my code if I don't. Which is completely fine. Perk button I dot active slot. Beautiful. Should probably initialize it, even though it shouldn't matter. Yeah, you don't set your coordinates here. Okay. And then let's have this right over the active slot. Yes. Okay, so now what'll happen is when you click on the perk slot that you want to swap out, it'll write over the active slot variable and all of the buttons, and then it can have those when you click on one of those, pass their data over to the item or to the perk slot that has the matching slot ID to their active slot. So it's slightly complicated, but also simple at the same time. I could have handled this in many different ways, but I think this is actually like the simplest way, as far as me following the information and keeping it a closed system. These items or these objects are just pointing at each other. Yeah. Technically, I could just make it an active slot variable on its own and whatnot. Or sorry, make this yeah, I could just make it an active slot variable on the object, on the player data object, and then have them look at that. I've already initialized it this way. It's fine. I understand this. This won't confuse me later. So now we have the active slot. And this will only work if I have the slots unlocked. So then, when I click, what I want it to do is I want it to look at obj player data dot perk slots at the position of active slot. So now this is how it knows what one to write over / activate, and it will inherit the perk ID, which in this case will be equal to, which will get set to the perk ID of this one, because it's just passing the same variable on. This will only happen if it's actually toggled, if the unlock's actually toggled. Any reason why I think this wouldn't work? No. Let me make sure that I define perk ID, but I'm pretty frickin' sure that I do. Yep. So this one, it's defined as each of the values, which it should be. Here, it's defined as 0, which is totally fine. So then what I want as well is I need to have some kind of swap code which should happen on this object. Okay. I'm going to write down a note because there's a very niche, not important level of polish that I will need to add in later, so I'm just going to write it down, which is the ability to, like, select no perk as an option, which is, like, really not important at all, so I'm not going to mess with that now, but it is something that at some point I should put in if I want the game to have the QOL features that a lot of modern games have. And I can either do that by literally having a perk that's a no perk option, although the system might actually accidentally do that, which would be kind of cool. Or I want to do it so that, or I would just need to make it that if you like shift click or right click or whatever, it just zeroes it out. Yeah, I think I can do it that way. Okay, I'm getting a bit ahead of myself, but actually I think it's going to be easy, and I will do that this time, but let me finish this out. So now, this should theoretically work. It should draw all of the objects, and they should all interact with each other and pass the variable around. But this variable doesn't do anything right now. So what I need to do is I need to go to my perk library script, the actual perk library script, and these are all wrong now. This is the old library. So I'm going to comment block this out because these are no longer correct. Yeah, that's right. I remember doing that. I'm not redoing anything with the text yet. So let me perk library new, and there should be 8. And then these 8 are the ones that I just wrote, which are summoner, what's the second one? Mage, then Soul Stealer, then damn, I can't remember these. Where are they? Right there. Okay. Concentrated casting. Then endurance. Brawler. Spirit Stealer. And lightweight. Okay. And then what I want to do, so this is perk lib is what this refers to? Okay. So then, not only do I want to write over this, but then I want to run the script, which is script execute. The ID of the script, this is perk, obj player data dot perk lib, and then this ID should be the same as perk ID. And it doesn't matter which one I refer to at this point. So that's the ID of the script. And then argument 0, in this case I'm turning it on, so it would be a 1. Now I would also want to turn off what already exists. So before this, I would want to go script execute, same kind of thing, except this should be this one. Because it's the one that's currently on the slot, and it would be deactivating it. I'm just really bad at copy-pasting code. Did I do this wrong? No. So yeah, so this takes what the active slot perk ID is. Okay. Like, something is in the wrong spot here. That's in the wrong spot. And it needs some redundancy. So this will do is it'll look at the player data object, it'll look at the perk library to find the script itself. Which script does it pull? It pulls the current perk slot, or the current active slot's perk ID, which is what it should do. Beautiful. Now both of these, I believe it should only do if this value is greater than 0. So let me, to make this a little bit cleaner, make some temporary vars. So this would be current active script, which I can set this equal to this. And this is the current active script. Okay, that's way easier to read. And I can put in a if current active script is greater than 0. Because if it's 0, that means that there's nothing active, and I'm fine with it not doing anything then. I mean, I want it to not do anything. And then I kind of need to do the same thing here, which is, but this one can be simpler because this would just be an if perk ID is greater than 0, then do this. So in either circumstance, if I'm putting in a 0, it doesn't add anything, and if I'm taking away a 0, it doesn't subtract anything, which is exactly what it should do. In any other circumstance, if I'm taking away an actual value, it subtracts it. If I'm adding an actual value, it adds it. That makes sense. So now it actually does something, and this should work, and I handle this all on the button object, which is great. Alright, I'm ready for this not to work. Oh! I need to go to the max perk objects and all that stuff and fix all that. Yep. So let's go back to here and double check this. No, back to here and double check this. Yeah, change this to 8. I'm going to put this back to max perk inv. And then go to stat any. Where is max perk inv? And this should now be 8. Alright, I'm ready for this to break. I'm bad. I shouldn't actually start a character on this. And the reason for that is I'm pretty sure I have these create perks, don't I? No? Do I set the perk on this object then? Yep. So let's go ahead and get rid of those. I might end up redoing something with this later, but let's do that. Hey Drillick, what's up? Welcome. Alright. Let's see if this breaks. Okay, so it's not drawn him in the right spot, which kind of makes sense. Okay. So that's a problem. And that's on the perk slot draw step. Perk slot draw step. There we go. And then also, I'm pretty sure it's not drawing these at all in the right spot, because wherever I was doing that before, it's not working now, which is totally fine, because I can easily just add it in here. Which would be something like x equals cam x plus 550 or some shit. And then y equals cam y plus 250. I'm bad. Plus 40 times slot. Okay. So this might actually end up already having a 0 perk, and that will just end up working to 0 stuff out, which is awesome. Okay, cool. So it's not really drawing them in the right place, but They do have the grayed out background, right? Which makes sense, because I don't have the unlock toggle. If I click, we don't see this do anything, but the fact that it's not breaking is good. So A, I want to drop these down a whole lot lower, and B, I want to put in a debug code to swap the toggle. So first off, let's drop these way lower, and then B, let's move these over a little bit too. Then B, let's add in some debug code for the toggle. Do I have debug code here? Kind of. So let's put in if keyboard. Oh, you know what? I can just turn this code back on, but then just make this do something different. So what this will do is it will set perk unlocks one or 0 equal to 1. I think that's right. Okay, so those aren't really in the right place, but let's see if I hit the toggle. Okay, now they're turned on. Their origin's in the wrong spot. Fair enough, that's easily fixed. This should set the active tile to that first one. So now if I click on one of these, it should set the active tile, which we can't actually see because I don't have it have the right sprites. Okay, so let's fix all that to make it visually not awful. So first off, let's middle center all this. So that's how it should work. Beautiful. Then let's move them again a bit, which should be in one of these, right? Don't need those. Oh, damn. It's not, okay. Where do I generate them again? In scripting? Oh, no. I just handle it on the actual object itself, which is a very convenient way to do it. Let's drop these a bit more. And then I need this to have that sprite set. Also, I realized I don't have a 0 sprite, which is probably bad. And I think I do need to increase that all by 1 more, but I can mess with that. Actually, that's a really, really easy fix, because I actually used the variable. I can just do that. No. I'm wrong. We'll see how this works out. So then I change that sprite, but I don't think I have this thing draw its sprite. Go to this thing's draw step. It draws equal to item. And item is perk ID, and the perk ID does get overwritten, right? Because this runs the script, and it does set the perk ID. So this should work. Okay, everything lines up now. Click on this and I click on this. Sweet. Okay, so it set that perk. That's still the active slot, so I can swap around the perk as I want. When I click on the next slot, that's now the active slot. So now I can set this perk, so on and so forth. Beautiful. How do we tell that these things actually work? And can I set them? Can I zero them out? I can. So the summoner one should increase my maximum mana by, I think, 20% or whatever, and should decrease my mana regen. It decreases my mana regen. It does not increase my mana, which it should. Let's go ahead and test the other ones and see. This one should do the opposite. It does increase mana regen. It doesn't affect my mana. So it might just be that this text here isn't updating. Let me check by doing this. My mana does not appear to be updating properly. Okay, so I'll have to check what's up with that. This should, get rid of my regen and give me mana leech. This should be the same things except with stamina. So this one completely isn't doing what it's supposed to do. Interesting. Okay. So let me see how I mess these up. It looks like it is running the scripts. It's just the scripts themselves are not proper. I somehow messed them up. I didn't put them in these, did I? No. Oh, are they in the gear scripts and I just didn't put them in the right place? No. Oh, new perks. I literally just called them new perks. Fair enough. So this does the max mana mod. It runs the script, but the script. Okay, that would be why. Player data. It runs the script, but not on the correct object. There we go. And I realized technically I could embed this in the scripts that it needs to be in. That's what I need to do. Okay. Let me fix this. So, this, because this manipulates max mana, needs to run the mana calc. This manipulates max mana, so this needs to be in the mana calc. This one does not manipulate max mana, so it doesn't matter. This one does manipulate max mana, so it does matter. And this is the same thing, except this is SCR stamina calculation. I didn't screw that up, right? Yeah, okay. And go straight into this one. And then I want to go back to this. I don't have the mana calc run at all, which is totally fine, because now I don't want it to. So it should be good now. Okay. Turn on the toggle. Good. Wow. It totally screws my mana. And that would be because this is a bad check. Times 1 plus. Is mana reserved? I think mana reserved is just a big number. It's not a percent. Yes, it's not a percent because it's based on mana cost. Okay. It still set my mana to 0, which it does look like it's actually 0. Why is it setting my mana to 0? It's running this, and it's getting... do I initialize base mana as 0? Because that would literally just completely explain it. Let me close all this to check where I am. Base stamina is 100. Base mana is 0. So there's your problem. On top of me doing the math wrong, I'm also, had the variables wrong. Classic, when you're coding, fixing a problem that you didn't realize was a thing. Good, so that increases my max mana. Now this should decrease it down to 70. Beautiful. Unfortunately, classic problem of not setting what my current mana is, which I had a different script to do that, right? Isn't that a vitals check? Yes, it's a vitals check. So I just need to add that to this as well. This can just run the vitals because I would need to run it at the same time. Or every time I would do this, I would have to check vitals. So that should fix the current mana being overflowed problem. Technically, I need to put this on the stamina as well. And then... I had a thought of something else that I need to do. Oh! I didn't fix the grayed out perks to have this first slot. But it looks like it does generate all 8, so my math was not horrible. Beautiful. Whoops. Keep it centered. Hey, Spheros, what's up? I take it you just finished up your coding for the day? Thanks for the raid. Alright, so this displays all the ones. They're grayed out. Debug code to turn them on. And then I can select them as I please. So, yeah. The new... Ooh. Why did that one change my mana? Are these one off? Are these running the wrong script? No, I bet you I just screwed that one up and it says mana when it shouldn't. Went a bit over time, but all good. I go over time all the time. I'm working on getting my perk system online, or at least the new version of it. I had a really crappy old version that basically did it just like how I did my inventories with like the click to put on cursor and then place sort of system, and that just doesn't work. So now I have it to where if you have them unlocked, you click the active slot, click the perk, it sets the perk on the slot and applies the bonuses, and then you click on the other perk to decide what the active slot is and whatnot. So, effectively, I just finished implementing it, and it works. Now, some of the values are wrong in this stuff, so I'll have to fix that. But the system works now, which is great, and is very easily expandable. So now I just need to put in the basic progression of this first system, and put that into place with some kind of quest. I'll probably swap out the first quest reward. Rather than giving you a soul stone, we'll set this perk on lock. Spitting straight wisdom at the end of the stream? Nice. Were you working on, mechanics, UI, physics, what was your thing for the day? More inventory stuff, or? And I realized too, there's actually one more layer I need to add to this. I want to make sure you can't select the same perk on 2 slots, which isn't too crazy of a thing to do. So let me go ahead and add that in. So all I would have to do is just add in an extra check, which is a same perk check. So what this will do is it will go if for var I equals 0, I is less than obj player data dot max perk inv I plus plus. What this does is this takes this value, and I want to check all of the obj player data perk slots at the value of I. And what I want to look at is I want to look at the perk ID, and if any of these are equal to the perk ID of this object, what it does is it's will set same perk equal to 1, and then it will break the loop. That should work. And then else, I'll do it proper formatting. Same perk equals 0. And then this will only happen if you click and same perk equals 0. I have a feeling like my instincts tell me something about this isn't gonna work, but I'm just gonna check it. Few bug fixes in getting dual wielding to work properly. Dual wielding can suck. Animation scaling with attack speed, that's always fun. Unity is some sort of animation blending thing. Blend trees, okay, cool. It doesn't exist. I don't know Unity that well, but the things that you're saying are making some tertiary sense to me. I did try out Unity a while back, but I didn't do much with it before deciding I didn't like it. Uh-oh. Oh, because I already selected it, yeah, okay, cool. Which actually I should write that down as a polish thing I need to add in. Select class buttons turn off after selection. After first selection. Okay. I know a lot of people like it. My initial analysis of it is it seems like it's really good if the scope of your project is larger than the things that I tend to work on. I tend to work on much smaller games, scope-wise, and for that it seems like something like Game Maker that implements stuff very, very quickly, or allows you to implement stuff quickly, feels better to me, because I can make progress a lot faster. But, all that being said, that's with very limited experience using Unity, so I could be totally wrong there. And actually, it looks like I'm wrong, and I'm only drawing 7 perks. Which perk am I missing? I don't know. I'll figure that out. Yeah. I'll probably end up learning it at some point. It seems like that's kind of what everybody does, is everybody learns Unity at some point. Okay, right. So debug code to turn that on. Okay. So my check broke this. Why? This object definitely exists. Just looking at the perk ID, which should be what it's called in both places. Let me go ahead and check my generation code. Yeah. So for the slots, it initializes them as zeros. For the buttons, it actually writes them in. So why, when I get to... I don't need this anymore. So why, when I get to this, this, does it not add up? So this looks at that. It looks at 1 to the same number, right? That exists on this. Because it's the same for loop. It's not the same for loop. It's totally not the same for loop. That explains it. I just hard to find this as 6 because I only want there to be 6. So there's no reason for me to variable that out. Totally explains it. There we go. Oh, I don't need it to do this on every step. I only need to do this when I click. So, I want to do this here, and then... It's kind of silly for me to like have like a separate thing here, but it kind of keeps things organized, so I'll do it. It'll go through this entire for loop first, so if a single 1 is equal to the perk ID, it'll set this to 1, take me out of the loop, go to here, and fail. Which is what I want. If they're all open, it will go through the entire loop, and then go on and go, sweet. In theory, I could drop this whole check and do like some kind of return function thing, but this should work just fine. Okay. And I fixed the error that popped up, so... Let's see how this works out. Right, gotta turn them on. Okay, so I can't select this one now because I've already selected it. I can select this one, though, or this one, or any of these, as long as I don't select this one, because I can't. So if I go to this one, I now can't select either of these two. Can't select that one, can't select that one, can't select any of these. It totally works. Beautiful. That's exactly what I wanted. So that functionality's in. Right, wasn't it this one that was screwed up? This one nerfs your mana when it shouldn't? Yeah, let me go see what's up with that. That should be fine. Ah. So that's not what screwed up. I missed an icon. And the icon that I missed is the icon for concentrated casting. I have no idea what I should draw for this one. I'm literally just drawing like a gibberish symbol. Sure. So that script is doing what it's supposed to do. It was just impossible to tell, really. Because it wasn't displaying the right symbol, so I thought it was trying to run the other script. And then I believe I need to crank these up by 1. So where is, yeah, stat any. Make this 9, because I have the 0 option. Okay, this should be the final test, unless there's something horribly wrong. And then I can implement this into the quest system. I guess technically there's a little bit more I need to mess with. Yeah, so all 8 available early perks right here. Can't double up. Looks like they all work the way that they should. Yeah. I wonder how I should handle, like, ending up with negative. I mean, it's fine if you end up with negative stamina, because everything right now that manipulates stuff like max stam and max mana and all that, and they're all closed. So stamina stuff gives a negative to some stamina stat and a positive to another stamina stat. So if you end up with like negative stamina, that means you can't use stamina for things. So that's just a bad perk and you just shouldn't use it. So like intrinsically, you just shouldn't do this. And same thing with regen. If you get like negative stamina regen, that means you'll drain stamina over time, which means you shouldn't do this. So I think like intrinsically, there's like an intuitive nature to like, yeah, don't do that. But I should probably at some point put in something to handle that. Just something to make that cleaner, because it's weird to literally have like negative stamina or negative mana. The negative regen is fine. Negative maximums. Maximum. vitals. I could pretty easily, actually, where I calculate the maximum, I could just put in a check for if the ending result would be less than or equal to 0, just set it equal to 0, because it's functionally the same thing. I'll have to think on that. The reason why I want to think on it is when you do stuff like that, you might there might be some weird corner case where the numbers end up breaking, or like end up allowing you to abuse the system. So I don't want to commit to that without thinking it through more. So I'll handle that for another time. But yeah, this does work though. Okay. I don't know what this object is. It's been here for a while now, and I don't know why it's here. But it's here. I think it's like one of the skill inventory objects or something. Yeah, I'll have to figure out what that is at some point. It doesn't do anything, it doesn't break anything. And if you go through the menus like enough, it like goes away. Because I think it gets moved to where it's supposed to be. But yeah. So okay, now what I want to do is I technically need another stat. Yes. So here that can stay where that is, that's fine. I guess I still kind of need it here, which is, oh, didn't I set unlock somewhere? Oh, I think they're just on the object for now, so that, because this is all stuff that I need to reorganize later. Yep. So let's go, max perk slots equal to 1. Well, let's say 0. So what I want to do, this is a new variable because the two progression systems for perks are, 1, I want the pool of perks to be something that expands as you go, so you unlock more perks that are accessible. And the second thing that I want you to do is unlock the number of open slots that you have. Yeah, and there's a number of ways that I can handle that. I'm going to do this the really simple way for now, that'll just put the functionality in, which is that on each of these objects, if I go to the draw step, I don't move them here. Okay, that means that I handle it on the step event of the player data object. Where is perks? Yeah. So I need an extra check here, which is if perk slots I is less than or equal to max perk slots. Do this. Else, put in a bit of redundancy. It's probably unnecessary, but it'll just rule out some BS that can happen later. So now I'm not having it generate new objects or anything. I'm just making it so that they just won't show up on the screen, so you can't click them. Which is a really bad way to handle it. But I don't know how many I want you to be able to have in total, and I don't know exactly how I want to handle all of that. I should only make this less than max perk slots. Yeah. I could also do less than or equal to and make it -1, but either way. So now the slots shouldn't even show up when I go into my inventory. Yep, they don't even show up. Okay. And that's good, because initially you don't even have perks unlocked, you can't even do anything with it. So let me change the first quest reward, which should be pretty easy to do. Activation quest giver, draw step. Where's the final thing where you get the quest reward? Oh, I technically need to change this as well. But... oh, that's on the draw. I need to go to the step of that. Okay, so this is where it is now. This is where the current quest reward is. So let's go ahead and deactivate this current one. So I'm switching what the first quest reward is. And now what I want it to do, player data dot max perk slots +1, as well as dot perk unlocks 0. Set that equal to 1. And then increment that one more. Perfect. Then we need to go to this draw step and technically need to change this text. What would I change this to? I guess, well, I can leave this as is. It'll be kind of wrong, but I don't actually have the right thing to enable that. So it's probably one of the next things that I should do, but this needs to be changed. I don't know, something like... I'm thinking about calling them trainings rather than anything else, but maybe perks is fine. Again, this is all alpha questing stuff, so it doesn't really matter, but... basically, the idea that I wanted it to be is that, like, throughout the game, by doing different quests for different NPCs, you'll unlock different perks, and the idea is that, like, the NPC will be like, oh, you meet a necromancer, and he'll teach you how to be a better necromancer, but you have to earn his trust first, or convince him that it's worth his time, or whatever. And so you do a quest, then he'll train you, and that gives you the perks. That's kind of the idea that I have with it, something like that. So let's do a full playthrough. So that I can test out the system. Right now, none of my perks are unlocked, and I don't have any perk slots, so none of that's there. I just have my base skills and my base gear. So let's go to the first quest and make sure that this all works right. Oh, I technically need to change that text too, but... not worried about flavor stuff right now. Ooh. Helps if you know, don't click off the screen. So the purple cone that I have right now is just an alpha display for where you're blocking. Right now I've made shields broken, so they block the basic attacks of these early enemies. So as long as as long as the purple is facing their hitbox, whether it be a melee attack or a ranged attack, I won't take damage from them. Now, I don't intend to have shields block all damage. They block a certain flat amount of damage. It's just right now the number's high enough to be stronger than these early enemies' attacks. Which makes it very strong. Yeah. Okay, fair enough. Why is that, like, not costing me any stamina? It should. I know why. Because I'm multiplying it by my mana mod, and I made the same mistake that I made with math before. Funny enough, that still works. The mana reservation still works. Oh, because I don't have that scale with mana cost. That actually totally makes sense. But I can spam this attack that I'm not supposed to be able to spam, so... I totally know why this screwed up, which is good. It's always good when you know why you messed, or how you messed something up, rather than just going, I don't know, man. So I'll be able to fix that. But my main test here is for the quest, so... Although it's nice to squash this bug, I can keep trucking through to see if the quest reward works right. I should probably heal. No reason for me to risk everything in the last pack. Alright, go back to town. Okay, so that completed the quest, which means this did work, this did turn on, but it didn't give me the active slot. Okay. So first off, I probably screwed up my initial logic, and this probably does need to be, where is it? Oh, right, this is actually on the step event of the player data object, which I could move. This probably should be less than or equal to. No. If it's less than, that should work. So that part works. Well, I can quickly test that, and then I can fix my mana cost thing, which was really dumb of me, and it's on quite a few scripts. Because this... Excuse me? This isn't supposed to be just a simple multiplication at the end. It's supposed to be a multiplication of 1 plus that. Well, actually... No. All I need to do is go into the initialization script. Where are you? You're in libraries? Yeah. And just set the base. Sure. Set the base mana cost mod to 1, and then it'll fix it. And then yeah, I'm gonna just see if I did change this to less than or equal to, right? That is what I settled on. Because if this is wrong, then you'll start with 1 slot in your inventory. So if you don't start with 1 slot... Okay. That means the problem is somewhere else. So why didn't this work? If this value is less than the number of max slots that you have unlocked for your upgrade amount, for your questing. So you start with 0, so you would have 0 open slots, which makes sense. When you go up to 1, the first slot, which has an I value of 0, should be moved to this location. This should work. Max perk slots. Let's go to max perk slot. Let me change my debug code. Rather than incrementing this, or rather than setting this, let's have this set max perk slots. Let's have it increment this so I can see what happens if I try to increment that value up. It's probably the simplest way to see if it's a bigger issue or not. So right now it's 0, 1, 2, 3. Oh, I think I have to close and reopen. It still doesn't matter though. Okay. So for some reason, this check is just failing. Oh! It's because I'm dumb. So this is the inventory. Yeah, that's 1 unlocked. Oh, yeah, I just broke my save. Okay. So this does work. I don't need this to be a thing anymore. So now that whole quest segment should work. Should I give it a whole try from the top again? Why not? And then I'll either switch to doing some polish stuff, or I'll update the save file, because I added a whole bunch of variables that need to be moved over. Yay! Technically I should turn these on. Ooh. I guess the better shield doesn't really matter, so let me leave and come back to reset my mana. But the better weapon matters. Okay. There we go. I don't need a better shield because the basic shield's already good enough for this stuff. Cool. Yep, so I'm properly using my mana now when I try to use my basic attack, which is good. I kind of can ignore these chests because the gear doesn't really matter for what I'm testing here. Yeah. I'll just try to kill everything as fast as I can. Get through this stuff. Okay, caught him back. Come on. There we go. Okay, let's get these guys kited. Oh, taking a lot of damage. Because as good as the shield is, you do have to aim it right. Yep, resource management is rough. But I'm not working on balance stuff, that's fine. Technically, I could debug code the quest stuff, but I do kind of want to see, like, I do like doing these full sort of playthrough passes, because almost every time I notice something that I didn't before. Some sort of polish thing that's off, or... Oh, I died? That's terrible. That's horrible. Okay, I'm just gonna make myself broken. I should have debug money. Yes, I have debug money. I'm just gonna go ahead and quickly fully upgrade my abilities, which will allow me to absolutely wreck this. Technically, getting max mana on the gear would be good. I think I'm just gonna YOLO max whatever armor I have, and not actually care about whether I get max mana or not. I'm sure at least a couple of the pieces will roll max mana, which is good enough for me. Put? Okay. Yeah, gloves. And I didn't get a helm, no? Okay. Let's just go ahead and sell the gear. And let's cheat and generate gear until I get a helm. Beautiful. Okay. Okay, let's go crush this quest now. Oh, I think I got move speed on my boots. I feel like I'm moving faster. Let's see. I did! Beautiful. Move speed. Oh, right, I actually have cast range on this now. Yeah, cast range and chain reaction and all the other broken stuff. Beautiful. So technically, now that I'm way stronger, I should actually be grouping this stuff up more. Oh, the mana reservation cost is way up for me to use this ability, because that's how that works. And I don't have my magic sword ability on, which I kind of should. My mana's pretty low, though. Why? Why is my mana at less than the max? Seems like my max mana gear's messed up. Why would it subtract? That doesn't subtract. That doesn't subtract. That doesn't subtract. Why is my maximum mana 92? That doesn't make any sense. Huh, I don't know what happened there. Oh well. I will investigate that more later. It's too easy to get distracted. I mean, this is why I'm testing out the full thing, is to find stuff that's broken. But I do want to check this quest. I'm thinking it might be because I died with a rune on the field or something, so that mana reservation never came back, or something like that. which is like really make a god mode for testing. I mean, really, I should just have a toggle that turns off death, and then you'd be good. But all right, so right now, I don't have any perk slots, and I don't have any perks, and all of these are grayed out because they're turned off. This should give me both. So I now have a perk slot, and they're colored because they're turned on now. So I can turn on a perk. And it looks like that fixed my mana. Why won't it let me? Oh, because there's a 0. I can't select 0 because there's already a 0. Okay. Well, hold on. I'm going to turn this debug code back on and also have it turn on the... Because now I know that the quest part of this works, so... What is it? Perk unlocks? Yeah, perk unlocks 0 equals 1. Then... So now I can test that perk stuff faster. And I know why now I can no longer deselect, because this check is going, hey, some of those perk slots are 0. So I need to add in another check, which is if this and perk ID is not equal to 0. So if it's equal to 0, it will fail this check and else it to 0. Okay, that should work. And I am going to figure out what's going on with the max mana thing. I'm just going to close out this thing first. So now, debug code. Right, I got to close and reopen to turn on the slot. Turn on that. And do that. Okay, yeah. So, I'm pretty sure before how I jumped up to 170 max mana, I'm pretty sure that happened because when I selected this, it runs this. It gave me more of a max mana mod, and it ran the script to set my to set my mana to what it was. And so whatever was screwing with it before, it looks like it fixed. So that tells me that one of the things that manipulates my max mana doesn't properly update. I'm going to confirm if it's the death thing or not. Oh, I need to get really, really low. And then place some runes. Okay, so I died with some runes out. That's exactly what the case is when you die with runes out. But now, I can fix it by swapping off the perk. Okay, so it's when you die and the perk is out. And the rune is out. So I think I can fix that on the rune object, because that's not the only scenario where this has come up. I should be able to put... Yeah, if object... Well, wait a minute. This test should already do that. Because when you die, either the duration will pop, and then it'll fix this, or when you hit respawn, you switch rooms, and that object will, again, pop. So I bet you it's that this script fit my old mana code, and so that doesn't work properly now. current mana should equal max mana. Yep. So I just have to add heal, but before heal, this needs to do SCR mana calc, which is the script that it does when I put on one of the perks or one of the items or whatever. Yeah, so need to get low on HP. And then I'll place some runes. Runes placed. Hit respawn. Cool, it fixes it now, okay. And then it looked like before, too, that the gear wasn't updating if I got max mana gear. Yeah, so that's a helm with max mana. If I put that on, my mana is not increased, so it's not doing it on that either. But that should be pretty simple, because that's on gear scripts, mod rolls, maximum mana. So I had to change the mod, I just don't run SCR mana calc, which I need to. SCR mana calc. I'll need to do this in both circumstances. Alright. That should all be fixed now. Beautiful. Yeah, so everything should work correctly now. The first quest will give you that first perk slot and the first perk pool. I fixed that mana reservation problem, which was just a problem that came up with how I changed how my mana system works to be more flexible for mods. This thing shouldn't apply to stamina at all, because I don't have any stamina reservation abilities, so that's good. Technically speaking, there's kind of one polish piece left to the perk system for me to implement, and that would be, if I wanted to do it today, which I'm not sure if I do, is just like how I have the NPCs for the other systems, I just would need an NPC for the perks. So rather than making the perk menu a button that you press to open, I would make it only when you interact with a certain NPC, so then it's locked behind being in town and stuff like that. That's not that important, though. I'll put it down on the list, and then we'll just go down the list, because I got a lot of small stuff on here. And what, we're at 8:10? Okay, and I did start the stream late, so I'll probably do the stuff I want to do on this list, and then I'll probably call the stream there. So let's add in town NPC for perk UI. And it's just a polish thing, the functionality doesn't change. I mean, it technically changes in that then you can't swap your perks outside of town, but that's not, yeah. That's not a systems change or anything. Okay, so let's look at what I got on my list. Back button after selecting the class. I have that down on here twice. Oh no, that's the back button, which I don't need. That can wait till I redo my class system. What I do need... Ooh, gold bank and stash. Okay. So right now I have a stash, but it doesn't store gold. So, what's a good way for me to do that? There's a number of ways that I could do it. Yeah, okay, so what I could do, I could have it be that it pulls up a like text input and you type in the amount, and it converts that to a number from a string, and then it moves that amount over. I really don't like doing that. I can make it so that way there's like a little button UI, and you can move over like amounts or like increment it by 100 or increment it by like ones, 50s, 100, like whatever, just like like up down arrows and set the number and do that, or have like a shift click that's all, or have a button that's all. And that I'm pretty okay with. That's just a lot of buttons, so it's going to be tedious to implement. But I kind of like that better than typing it in. Typing it in would just be good enough, though. I should do it with typing in. Yeah. So... Okay, yeah, so this loads in the stash. Yep, okay, cool. That's all fine. Where do I draw this stuff? Is it here? Yeah, I think it's here. Stash inventory is where I draw all. I think I want to put this code on the stash object. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so let's put up the toggle. Stash. Oh. Getting ahead of myself. Player data dot stash inventory. So just if this is true, if that toggle is turned on, I need to go kind of steal my code from before because I don't want to have to relogic through it all. Yes, here's my keyboard input code. So let's take this. Okay, so this is for the actual input. And then I need a toggle like what I have here. And what I'm going to do for that, so if this and keyboard check pressed VK enter, then rather than enter name be the variable, I want this to be gold transfer. This doesn't need to be a thing. I need to go to this and set this to gold transfer. And shout out to Indiana Bones from this forum. He's the dude that I ripped off this keyboard input code from. I was just looking up like how to do it, and he had like the perfect generically written out code, and I'm like, oh, I'll just copy it then. So I only want this to work for numbers. So as I recall, it starts with just numbers, and then this is what I added in. And change the numbers. Yeah. So I'm pretty sure that 190, I'm pretty sure that this is enter. Yes. Or 190's backspace? No, 8's backspace. One 90's a period. That would be for decimal points, I think. Whatever. That's fine. Actually, no, that's not fine. I don't want that. I just want hard numbers. Okay. Then, backspace key is totally fine. Enter key, totally fine. Beautiful. So now this can input a bunch of stuff, and I end up with in string as the number. So then, after doing this, I don't need to, like, do something crazy here. I can just, like, I don't need to move the toggle around. I can just put the code that I want to run here, which would be, is it just called convert string as the function? String convert? Copy, count. There should be a way for me to take the string and convert it into into an integer. Oh, is it implicit and easier than I'm thinking? Let me see. GML string to int. Real. That's right. String to be converted to a real value. Yep. Okay. So we would go real. In string. And this just converts it? No, this returns the value. So in string is still safe, which it should be. So let's put this as transfer value equals real in string. And then what it does is goes if transfer value is greater than obj player data dot money, then, well, greater than or equal to is fine. Then I guess I just need a new variable, which is fine. Then obj player data dot stash, or let's call it bank money, equals, or sorry, plus equals obj player data helps if I can spell dot money. So if I write a number that's bigger than the amount that I actually have, it'll just move it all over. And then I suppose I can else I can technically use all in one line, but take this. Oh. Okay. I can't do this on one line. I mean, I can, but it's bad for me to do that. Because this isn't the only thing I need to do. So I need to move the money over, and I need to set my current money equal to 0, because I moved it over. Then what I need to do, so the alternative is if it's less than. And in that case, what don't you like? Oh. Then, otherwise, what we add here is we add, instead, the value, which would be transfer value. Let's temporary bar this. And then this, we would subtract transfer value. Okay. So technically this should work. Technically this should have functionality. You can't like see pretty much any of it, and it's kind of garbage, but I want to put... I guess I'm fine leaving this like this for now. So then I need to put a display for your stash value. Yeah, so let's go to where I draw stash and add in. Where's the line where I draw my money? Where is the line where I draw money? Did I put it on these objects? I don't think that would make any sense. Yeah. I guess I could have technically put it on these, which would be very weird. No. Okay. So it should be on this object, then. Which would make sense. This is where I would want to put it. I guess I'll do like a find. Because there's only like a dozen places where I actually reference this. Yeah. 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 This is where I draw it? That's kind of weird for me to put this here, but whatever. This is open when the stash is open. I guess that's why, because it's the only object that's there on all of them. So then let me pop this down. It doesn't need to be that much lower. Let's make it like 350 lower. And this should say stash gold, and this would be equal to stash money, which should be a variable that exists. Excuse me? Oh no, I called it bank money. And this should technically only happen when stash is true. No, actually, I can draw that whenever, because in theory, I would want it so if you go to use the blacksmith mechanics and whatnot, that it can also pull money from your stash. So I'm gonna have to add that to the list as a polish thing once I have this actually implemented, is to have shops pull from stash money. So you would want it to display in all of those menus. So you'll see it will display. Oh, that's what I have to add in, absolutely, though, is right now, what there isn't, is there isn't this number is not displayed anywhere. I do have a draw step, good. So let's go draw set text, or sorry, draw set font. Let's just use Flask font. Draw set color. This will be C yellow. And go draw text. This should be probably pretty close to the top. Ooh, there really isn't a good place for me to put this, really. I guess I should kind of try to aim there-ish. And the string should be gold transfer? That's probably not what I call it. Oh, it's just in string. That's fine. In string. And this should only be true. What's the toggle? Gold transfer. Come on. God, my typing today is off. Yeah, let's make it a little bit more readable. This should be a string, so I think that'll work just fine. We'll see. So technically this should work, and it should work one way, I think. And it immediately breaks. Why? Because gold transfer is not set. I have to initialize it. Fair enough. Gold transfer equal to 0. Doesn't really matter who I pick first. I don't define bank money. Fair enough. Okay, let's go to, or don't initialize it. My save file is going to be so botched after this. Lots of stuff I have to change. Okay. So, oh, that's right. I need to do it the other way to lower the stash goal. So, in string is not defined. Fair enough. I also have to initialize that. Let's see, where did I draw my... it's on the trash object. Literally the trash object. Yeah, I did this the wrong way. I need this to be 450. And then... yeah, I don't want to initialize in string, which I do need to do. In string equals 0. Oh, no. Not equals 0. Equals nothing. What? How did I handle this? Yeah, so this, I believe this can be -1, and that's fine. Okay, I think I was wrong about this. I think I do need to do it like this. Even though it's already a string, I guess when it doesn't exist, it's not already a string, so that's not obvious to the code. Oh, that's right, it's numbers. But it super doesn't work. Okay, why not? So if it's draw that and draw here, if it's I'm hitting enter, turns this on, and I know that was working because it was breaking before. That toggle goes on. It's this, sets this. Technically, I also need a... This isn't the problem, but... I'm bad. Semicolon. Semicolon! That actually might have been the problem. Because then when I hit enter, I think it would immediately put me in and kick me out, maybe? This is why I didn't want to do it with text, because I hate doing text input stuff. Oh, well, it works. It kind of works. So it thinks it's open right now. Huh. So why is this all weird as butts and not actually working right at all? I guess first I should double check the ASCII code. ASCII table. Because I'm just assuming those are correct. If 0 is 48, yep. And then 9 is 57. Yep. So the ASCII code's fine. That's not at all the problem. Yep, the backspace is good. And yeah, the enter key, it writes this as a real. If value greater than or equal to the amount of money that I have, it just does this. Otherwise, it does this. So right now it's doing this, technically. And then it turns off what it's doing. Let's add in this. That shouldn't make that much of a difference. This doesn't work right. Why doesn't this work right? It's drawing this on the wrong layer. This is underneath the inventories layer, this object. That shouldn't matter. It might matter. Bam! Whoa. That is weird. Oh, it's just adding the number? That is not what I want at all. Oh, that's super wrong. Why is it doing that? Because in-string is not a string while it's up here, and I want it to be a string. What do I do on this object? How did I define this, and where did I screw this up? That's how I defined it. That makes a lot more sense than what I just did up here. And that literally explains everything. That would be a weird FU way to do it. If you want to do a large number, you just have to spam 9 so it adds it. Okay. So let's do it like 1200. It works! I can do this however many times I want. Let's do like beautiful. And if I do like some absurd number, it just does the full amount. Perfect! That totally works. Let me clean it up. So first off, I realized that I need to take this and put this up here, because yeah, I do want it to be yellow. Then so I need to do something very similar, but the other way around, which is really annoying. Okay, so let me do this as gold transfer is not equal to 0. I'm going to do this same thing. Make this gold transfer 2. Make this VK shift. No, that's a really, really dumb one for me to do. I'll probably change these to buttons later, but for now, do we have like a right control? We have a right shift. Let's do right shift. And then, is gold transfer not equal to 1? Why is this not equal to 1? Why do I have this check here? Oh, this should be not equal to 0. That's what I messed up. Then it does all of this, so all of this is fine. And then when it gets to here, that's still fine. So now it looks at, let's go if gold transfer is equal to 1, then do all of this like you normally do. Then I put a different one, which is if gold transfer is equal to 2, then we can copy this, do the same thing, except I need to sort of flip this. So this is if this is greater than bank money, then just take your player money and add in the bank money and set the bank money equal to 0. Otherwise, we just take our money, we add the transfer amount, we take the bank money, and we subtract the transfer amount, we reset gold transfer. So again, when I'm ready to do even more polish, I'll replace the enter and the shift inputs with actual buttons on the UI to make it clearer. But for now, right, so let's put in, I don't know, that much. And if I do this, this is taking out. Beautiful. totally works. I just realized this is all kind of a moot point. I mean, I'm glad that I did this, because I can kind of use this for other stuff, but thinking about it... what would be kind of nice, what would be convenient, is if I made it so that way whenever you go back to town, your gold that's on your person is immediately put into your stash, and then everything just pulls from out of the stash. There's kind of no reason for me not to do it that way. So here's what I'm thinking. Right now, and this could change, one of the punishments for death is you lose half of the money that's on your character. The problem with that, so the nice thing about having a stash is your stash is A, a way to transfer your money from one character to another character, and B, it lets you save your money. So if you put your money in your stash, you won't lose it when you die. The problem with this is every time you go back to town, you just should go turn in your money, because there's no downside. There's no reason to keep your money on you. And I'm in the camp where I might as well add in the quality of life, where then, well, if you always want it in your stash anyways, just make it so every time you go back to town, it just automatically dumps your money into your stash. So then there's no reason to have to have this functionality at all. Oh! If it's nothing, it just breaks. That's important. Glad I just checked that. And transfer value is greater than... Ooh. If you take an empty reel... I guess if I put greater than 0, that should still work, right? Because if transfer value is undefined, then by default it's not greater than 0. So wouldn't that work? What's the syntax for defined in this? Oh, equals defined? I mean, undefined is a thing. Oh, is not equal to undefined. Right, that's how you do it. Okay, yeah, I'll just do it the proper way. Rather than experimenting with the syntax of this. Okay, so I just ruled out that problem. Okay, so theoretically there's no reason to have to transfer your gold around like this. Now, that being said, I can make that not the case. Like, these circumstances could change. I don't have to put the auto transfer in. Yeah, I'll deal with it later. Point is, right now it works. Did I not write down? Yeah, I didn't write down buttons for bank. Buttons for bank, which now might not be necessary if I actually redo this. So it just auto deposits. Unless auto deposit. Because the only other kind of thing is like, oh, what about for trade? But for trading, I would also prefer that I just pull from your stash. Yeah, so I might not have had to do this entire thing. Oh well. It works for now. I don't have to touch it for now. I can live with this as is. And if I decide I want to do the auto deposit stuff and the auto withdrawal stuff for shops and trade and whatnot, then I can do it that way. Which is like actually way simpler and streamlined, but okay. So I technically have the gold bank in stash. Add perk unlocks to save file. Okay, yeah, so there's a lot of save file updating I have to do. New stats to save file, that to save file. No perk option for each slot I actually did implement because it was really easy to do while I did the system in the first place. Select class button, turn off after the first selection. Ooh, okay. That should be a quick and easy one. I'm probably not streaming too much longer, because I'm now at the proper time, but again, a couple of these things should be quick, so I want to knock these out. Let's see. New character button. So you already have a check that you will only draw yourself. You only draw yourself when this is true. Oh, that's not the problem. What happens is when I click, it sets enter name. Oh, yeah. Maybe that is the problem. That is the problem. Okay. Cool. That does make sense. Okay. So that was the... Yes, the class button. Polish for negative maximum on vitals. I kind of need to make a decision with that, so I'm fine waiting on that. Town NPC for perk UI. Yeah, that's going to be a little bit more involved. Okay, yeah. So everything else will take more than just a couple minutes, and I should end the stream. So I'm going to end the stream here. But we did the big task that I wanted to do, which was to... well, I don't have all the perks in here, but I can change this to 8 out of 24, and do something like new perk system implemented. I just need more. So that was the big thing that I wanted to get done today. So we got that done today. We're very quickly approaching the just working on content phase of the development, which is awesome. As in just more perks, more skills, more mods for things, more gear, more enemy types. Right? This is all just more of stuff that's already in the game. More areas, more quests, now that I have the different progression systems implemented, and then just lots and lots of polish. So we're very close to literally just working on content, which is awesome. There's some bigger, longer-term stuff that would be a lot more complicated and much more mechanics-based stuff, which doesn't need to happen on this first alpha build. So this is all stuff that I will work on if I'm very motivated before finishing all of this stuff. But ideally, I will get all of this stuff finished, and then I can technically put a stamp on this alpha build and compile it, which is awesome. Now, I suspect this will take me a lot of time, because this is a lot of content I have to do design work for and then implement. But we're basically there, which is awesome. So, great day. We got the stuff done that I wanted to get done within the time frame I wanted to get it finished in. Yeah, so I guess we'll wrap up the stream then. So, couple shout-outs. Yeah, so down below, there are a couple links. There's a link to my Patreon, which is where you can go to support this whole project. The main purpose of the Patreon is to raise funds to pay for the things that I cannot pay for myself. Or to raise funds to commission the work that I cannot perform myself. So I'm not an artist, I'm not a sound designer, I'm not good with music. These parts of the game, which aren't required until pretty late, are all things that I want to commission out the work for and get somebody else involved to do those pieces for, and I would like to pay them for that. So that's what the first tier of my Patreon is to get the funds together in order to pay for that, and then past that, the various tiers are more like stretch goal, dream kind of things, where we can expand the team further, get more people involved, work on multiple projects, have sooner release dates for things, stuff like that. If you want to support me directly and my time personally, you can do that through subscribing on the stream. That supports me directly. It is not for the bigger game project, and that's just for me to stream more, and I do other things other than just coding. My Twitter is also linked down below. If you follow my Twitter, I always tweet before I go live. I try to tweet at about 30 minutes before going live. Sometimes it's kind of last minute, but I will always tweet before going live, so it's a great way to know if there's schedule changes or whatever, or if I'm streaming on a day I normally wouldn't. My schedule is down below. I stream every weekday except for Wednesday. That's Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and I stream 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. PDT. Oftentimes I tend to stream longer than 8 p.m., but I will stream at least to 8 p.m. Weekends I leave open for randomly streaming with friends, or if I'm feeling particularly productive. Yeah. I think that's everything that needs to be shouted out. So yeah, tomorrow is Tuesday, so I will be streaming again tomorrow. And yeah, the big stuff for tomorrow. There's no major mechanical features I need to implement as far as I can think. Technically, there is some line of sight stuff, so maybe I should put that up. But effectively, at this point, I can start implementing a whole bunch of content. So that's probably what I'll be doing tomorrow, is just getting as much stuff crammed into the game as possible. So feel free to tune in for that, and I'll probably be doing that, or I'll be working on this game in some form all this week. Yeah. Yeah, we should be able to call it there. So thank you so much for tuning in. I'm gonna find somebody to raid real quick, and yeah, thanks for watching. Let's see, who to raid. I'm not looking at the right thing. Did it not? Oh, there we go. See ya, Spheros. Again, thanks for the raid. Okay, let's see. This guy's working on weapon design stuff. Let's see. Trying to find something at least tertiarily related. I don't know. I guess let's raid. Sure, let's raid this person. Why not? /raid. Did I spell that right? Looks like I did. Beautiful. Everyone's getting queued up. I just want to click the button. Button clicked.